What's going guys, it's Easy. Welcome to my channel. So I have tested the new Inferno 6 chess piece called Seditious Bread in Battleground. I have played with it for more than 3 hours or so, and I will be sharing all the key points which I have experienced with you guys, how good it is and what are the bad things. So starting off, what it does. So Seditious Breath. Smokescreen now throws a grenade at a target location, creating an area of dust that causes burning enemies to explode. Also, the purple color is indicating the value of Awakened Slot buff, which is 10% increased damage with your smoke screen. I have replaced my chest piece with the Rudalia Life Braid, which is each time strafe deals damage to an enemy, its damage against that enemy is increased by 6% up to a 30%, and also 10% more damage on strafe. So when you have the awakened slot, so you see I am losing a lot of damage with this replacement with the chest piece. So the builds which I am using are already not one of the highest damage dealer, and on top of that you guys can clearly see that I have sacrificed even 40% more damage to test out this new chest piece. The highest damage builds are the one with the Hellfire rockets, but I do not prefer those because this build has one of the best agility, gives you mobility to run around and escape from quite thin situation. And for anyone who is wondering, GZ, what builds are you using, you can check that on the left screen quickly. And these are not the new builds but rather old one, but you would not see a lot of players using it. They prefer to go with the rocket builds or some other builds rather than this one because it requires you to have a lot of high secondaries such as armor penetration. The only thing which I replace here is the chest piece with the old setup and see how it works, and I will be breaking down everything which I figured out in my 3 to 4 hour or 4 or 5 hour gameplay time with this chess piece. So yeah, let's get into that. I'm going to try and explain everything in the best way possible, breaking them down into some key points which I felt important. So starting with, players actually don't notice its ground effect. When you drop that, you would notice that everyone is just stepping on it and they would not notice what's happening. So that is the first thing which I liked, or players are just not familiar with it as of now. Also, 50% speed reduction works nice, but it only works nice versus Crusaders and players with no dashes. If you would see Tempers, they're just going to use their dash. Wizard can do the same, and other classes with the dashes, they can just move with the dashes. But someone who doesn't have dash are going to face the issue. And even the Hulk Necromancer can jump out of it. So that's that. Then it's most effective on idols when players aren't moving much. So yeah, this is true. When I was deploying it around idols, that is when I felt it is working as intended, because then 0.5%, I mean 0.5 per second combustion was triggering, and it is good and can be triggered by other players too. So yeah, it has a mechanic that anyone who is under the effect of smoke screen and are being slowed while they are on the smoke screen, and if they get burned or get ignite, they are going to bust and they will explode every zero point 0.5 second, and other players with their fire effects can also trigger this. And for that reason I felt like, alright, this is actually good working around idols and you can provide support, but keep in mind that I was sacrificing my own 40% damage. Then it's not as great as Wizard AoE or CC, yeah, because it doesn't move around. The cooldown is actually rather good, that it only has 3 second downtime, and 3-second uptime, but still it doesn't move around and you only have one charge, and if you messed up, that's pretty much about it. Also, the last point is quite important, which is option to use this with current Demon Hunter builds are not great. This is true. This is one example just here, me replacing my chest piece and sacrificing so much of my damage to provide support. And if your team isn't doing well, then match is pretty much over despite of your support. And also support is self is not as class in my opinion compared to wizard support, and it is best used for visual or blaze with proper team so everyone would know their roles. I would not suggest this chess unless your secondary stats are super high and you just want to have fun with in battleground. So overall, you can pretty much skip this chess piece and enjoy the battleground with the front builds that you already have. And for Vigil or Blade, if you're going in, then yeah, this could support some. I mean, this could give another layer of support if you have a wizard slowing down, doing CC, doing combustion, but it would require a proper team. Otherwise, no. Just go with the old builds and you'll have a better result. And that's pretty much conclude all the key points which came into my mind. I thought I should share them with you guys with the builds that I was running with. So if you guys are also interested, you can give it a try. But keep in mind that you will not be able to be really effective if your secondary stats, especially armor penetration, is low. Mine is somewhat around 5,600, I think, so I was still able to deal damage with this setup even losing after 40% damage. But if yours is somewhat lower and you're fighting against really high plays, then this is not going to be really effective and you will have to solely rely on your smoke screen to help out. I mean, if it doesn't work, GG, and you guys are going to call me Malaka GZ fucked us up. So yeah, just wanted to give you guys the disclaimer. And with this, I'll see you guys in my next one. Until then, take care, have fun, and bye guys. Hope this video helped you guys out.